Welcome back to We Love Boating. I'm your host, Scott, and this week we've got an awesome yacht tour to show you. It's an Arno Leopard 34 metre, and if you don't know much about Leopard yachts, they are all about big, luxurious, open cockpits, huge speed. This boat's capable of speeds up to 40 knots, so you can imagine the amount of power that's required to get a boat of this size up on the plane, and we're going to show you what that looks like a little bit later on. But Ray White Marine here in Sydney, they are brokering this boat. So let's jump on board and do the tour. Let's start the tour by taking a careful step onto the swim deck. Two sets of stairs up onto the aft cockpit, which, as you can see, is quite vast. And the use case for these boats, built in Italy, as you can imagine, very popular around the Mediterranean, is being able to pile all your guests on board, blast off at 40 knots, find the destination of your choice, anchor for the day, and then let the crew take care of you for the day and overnight. All about entertaining and all about heaps of fun. As you can see, we've got this huge sun pad in front of us for I reckon 4 to 6 people, and then just moving forward we've got what you'd expect to find, which is seating and places to dine like this for your guests. Underneath the hardtop that you can see just in front of us there, and as it is a crewed boat, you can imagine that the crew be taking good care of you in an area like this. There's a forward passage up the side decks, both port and starboard side. We're going to do a full tour of the forward decks, but just to give you a good view of what that looks like from here with those umbrellas up, you can imagine what an amazing area this would be with some music on. What a blast. Well, let's pop into the main deck salon. There's a lot to show you here, and it really is about one thing: entertaining, socializing, and just having a fantastic time. You'll notice by the arrangement, very intentional design in this main deck, which separates out, you know, like the crew areas, the galley, from this entertaining space. And we'll pan across and show you what we've got. Tell me what you think. I actually quite like the wood grain that's been used here. It's like a, I think this is like a pale oak, but it's got like an open grain and a bit of a wash through it. Even though this is a 2007 hull, I think that's aged particularly well, as has all of the boat, to be fair. But there's two distinct zones here in terms of entertaining to show you. There's a lounging area here where you can obviously sit around, socialise. A great place to pop drinks, cocktails of your choice, nibbles. That's a fantastic spot there. And then you'll notice as well, there's this very big area that runs right through the centre line of the Salon, which is about 2 metres wide, or about, I'd say, 6 to 7 feet. So great access forward and aft. You would not feel cramped at all in here. You've got a slightly different arrangement on the starboard side. You've got another lounging area, lower like ottoman coffee tables just there. And these are very nice, aren't they? These are kind of like a postmodernist pair of lamps. I really like those. They look super cool. Like that. Just forward of where we are here, there's another little nook. So with the number of guests, whether you were chartering the boat or whether there was 8 guests on board, there's plenty of space for everybody to find a place to come in and sit if you are inside the salon, like this space here. And you've probably noticed those really cool windows. Love the way that they are sort of contoured and shaped and irregular. Very Italian, isn't it? Fantastic. Just forward of where I am here, you can see this large cabinet. Inside there's storage for AV equipment and other bits and pieces, but there's a good size television that rises out of that cabinet. So where I am now, sat down on one of these little sitting nooks, that's a terrific place to come and watch a movie or watch the game. That would be absolutely perfect. I'm just going to swing around to show you something else. Right over this area where I am here, and if I just tilt back, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. There we go. There's a very, very large sunroof that can swing all the way open, so you could bring in an enormous amount of light and the outside in here, which would be absolutely brilliant. That would be a great option on a beautiful day. Ahead of there is one of the spaces where I think it'd get a lot of workout, and that's this great little bar area. There is a full commercial galley down on the lower deck, which I'll take you and show you in a moment. But this is a great spot. One of the crew members could be here mixing up cocktail nibbles from downstairs. There's a refrigerator just in there. This would be a great spot, wouldn't it, to enhance your entertaining experience like that. So in terms of a socialising and entertaining space, it's pretty good. It's vast, in fact, isn't it? And if you're just out for the day, you can imagine having a lot of people on here having a lot of fun together. Absolutely brilliant. All right, let's start taking a look at some of the more business parts of the boat, and let's step up and have a look at the bridge. And as I hinted in the beginning, we don't have the usual propulsion engine configuration on board this Leopard, and you'll start to see the evidence of that. 3 helm chairs, all with bolsters, very, very cool. And in the center here, you can see that we've got controls for the thruster, as well as like that joystick, not joystick, like a mouse control for the Simrad multifunction displays. Let me show you that. You can't call it a steering wheel because it's not a steering wheel, is it? But it looks like something off a supercar. That is awesome. How cool is that? Love it. A full bank of Simrad multifunction displays, and also autopilot navigation. All of those are here. And then, as I pointed to at the start, there's 3 engines on board this 34 Leopard, and here's one of them. So they don't look like your normal Volvo Penta or MTU engines, do they? Very, very different. I can't wait to take you down and show you what it's all about. But if you can imagine sitting here, looking straight out over that bow at full revs, you know, pushing up towards 40 knots. I mean, this would be like riding the space shuttle on water. It'd be absolutely amazing. 115 feet at 40 knots. Goodness me, what an experience that would be. Incredible. All right, I'm going to move a little bit to the port side. There's a day head very conveniently located just a few steps down on the main deck, which is very, very handy, of course. I'll show you what that looks like here. You get a better look of that oak wood grain that's taken right throughout the boat. Pretty nice. I like that, actually. I think it looks really good. Typical day head. Nicely appointed though. Blue. A little bit of storage underneath there for all the essentials. And a nice Corian benchtop, I think that is. Lovely. All right. I'll back out of there. And then we'll swing around. I think the next area, which would be great to show you, will be the guest accommodation. We'll take one of these side access doors and we'll do a loop of the decks. But let's step down a couple of stairs and I'll show you something really cool. It's its own full-on media home theatre room. How cool is this? Wouldn't this be the perfect place once you're at anchor, the day's over, to come down here, put a great movie on or watch the game, or even a place where if there were lots of kids on board or teenagers and they wanted to come down here and do a bit of gaming or anything else like that, what a perfect place to create another zone that people can enjoy themselves on board. Isn't that fantastic? And I'll just crouch down so you can also see this a little bit better, because there's a bank of 4 of these like skylights. Doesn't that look cool? So they kind of mirror that elongated windows there that you can see in the port side, but they look fantastic, don't they? And it really does fill this space up with a lot of natural light. That is brilliant. Just stand back up. So a great sized lounging area like this. Really cool little reading lights like that. Just a great fun area. And you can see what it looks like if I come all the way over like this. Very cool. There's another little space just here. You might not have seen it. So there's space here for a chair. You can swing this up. You could use this as like a pseudo little study area if you wanted to, or just tuck yourself away and do a little bit of work if you needed to do that. But all in all, this is just a great area to get away. How good. Look at that, fantastic. Brilliant. Love it. All right, let's scoot back out of here and we can take these steps down and we'll head down and take a look at the guest accommodation. So there's accommodation for 8 guests in 4 cabins and 4 heads as well. I think what we'll do is we'll go forward first. Now the VIP stateroom that we're going to take a look at right now is very, very generous. And as I step up, you'll see for yourself just how good those proportions are. Like this. So we've got a really good sized queen bed, all on one level 2 in this cabin, as you can see. So easy to walk around. This is all storage along those little sections there, which is great. And you can see there's you can pull down like a little louver there if you want to block out some of the light coming through those portholes. But there's also 2 hanging lockers like this, so really good sizes. There's 2 of those. And then you can also see that we've got a good sized television as well. I hinted that there were that oak grain was used throughout the boat, but I like how they've mixed it up here with these. This is, I think, is like a leather or a marine leather. That's really nice, and that cream colour just breaks it up, mixes it up. That's super nice. And then the head is actually in 2 halves. So we've got the toilet over here and a hand basin just there. Great head height too. I don't know if I mentioned that at the start. I'll show you where I am in the mirror. Look how high this is. Terrific headroom. That is brilliant. So a loo over to the starboard side, and the port side another hand basin and the shower. Big rainfall shower. You can see there for yourself. Nice mosaics too in there. That looks very, very cool. I like that kind of thing. Brilliant. So that's the first of the 4 guest cabins. That's the VIP cabin. And if we move back, we'll take a look at cabins 2 and 3. Now they're set up slightly differently. The first is set up as a double, like this, with some storage underneath the bed in that bedside table, and then also dotted around the side there. There's a smaller television there, and a hanging locker like that. And then through this door, we've got a separate shower like this in that same very nice mosaic. Really good size hand basin area. Place to put all your little personal effects there. That's terrific. And the toilet, of course. Good amounts of natural light. And that same headroom. Terrific. So that's cabin 2. That's set up as a double. And then just across the companionway is cabin number 3. Set up as 2 singles like this. Really cool ambient lighting in here. Very, very nice. This is a cozy little cabin, isn't it? Again, great headroom. Fantastic headroom in here. And there's also a Pullman. You can see there. There's a Pullman light, a Pullman that you can grab onto there and make this a cabin for 3. And then it also has its own ensuite head as well. Again, nice separate shower. Very nice quality throughout. Terrific. So that's cabin 3. So the last cabin then, we have to move all the way back just to this little landing area, and it's the full beam owner's suite. Really nice size. Get to experience the full 7-metre beam of the boat, and it looks like this. The first thing you're greeted by is this nice little lounging space like this underneath that bank of porthole windows. Lovely. And then if we swing around, we've got a really, really big size. That's probably a king size bed. Obviously, again, all on one level. Walk around. That's lovely. Really does feel like a very big cabin. Of course, you'd expect it. The boat is 115 feet long, so you wouldn't expect anything else. But it's lovely down here. Big television there to enjoy. A big bank of places to store clothes and luggage and any other type of personal effects that you've got just here. Big bank of those. And then lockers like this. Again, all lined, beautifully lit. Little mirror. These nice little leather pulls, actually, they're quite nice. Very nice. Let me come back into the corner. There you go. That gives you a better view, doesn't it? Lovely. You can see that there's some more hanging lockers just over there. But let's scoot over and take a look at the ensuite head. And it looks like this. Double basin. Some very cool tapware. Nice waterfall shower like that. And then behind me is a separate door that you can close across for the toilet. Like that. So all in all, that's a lovely space. How good. Brilliant. All right, let's come out of here and we'll move back up onto the main deck. I think what might be fun to show you next is we'll do a little tour around the decks. Let's swing around and head up to the forward decks. We'll just take this starboard side here. Nice wide side decks, and it's nice to see like really high railings and these bulwarks which are quite high as well, about waist height, so you feel pretty secure walking all the way around. There's those big windows that we saw earlier on the lower deck. They look pretty cool. And if we come all the way around, it's a bit of a walk actually. If we come all the way around, we find, I reckon, one of the best parts of this boat, which is this big entertaining area. So you can see there's a central area there. We've just had a little rain shower, so there's a little bit of water on the sun pads, which is fine. There's seating just at the back there for about 6 people. A table goes in there, and then here you've got a sun pad, which the backs can ratchet up, and you could probably also see that there's like a bimini top that can fold up and out before to give you some shade if you want that. But if I come right back, you see the full profile of the boat, really low, really sleek, and she just looks awesome. Just looks fast even when she's at the marina. How good's that? Fantastic. All right, let's come all the way back down this side deck. So let's take a look at those crew areas. The crew, in fact, is really well catered for. Down on this level, you'll see that we've got crew quarters, we've got the commercial galley, some laundry facilities and access into the engine rooms. There's 2 crew cabins. The first of those is just here. I'll show you that in a moment. But let's take a look at the galley. Pretty impressive. Large amounts of commercial grade refrigeration and freezing just there in front of us. That's pretty impressive, in fact. And then as we come into the galley itself, you can see that we've got a 6 hob, I believe, electric stovetop. There's an ice maker just in front of us here. Miele commercial dishwashers. Everything that commercial spec, microwave, big sink like that, and lots of bench top for the crew to sort themselves out like that. And then just behind me is the crew mess area. All right, let's jump into this engine room, because I've been looking forward to showing you this as well, because this is unlike any other engine room I'm probably likely to see again this year, for the simple reason that there is not just one huge engine powering this boat, not just 2, but there's 3. Incredible. In total, 7,200 horsepower. Just incredible. But of course, to get a 34 metre or 115 foot motor yacht up onto the plane doing 40 knots, you're going to need some serious grunt, and that's what we've got. So I'll just sit here and tell you, these are a set of 3 MTU. Now they're 16 valve 2000 M93 engines, and each one of these, if you did the maths, produces 2,400 horsepower. That is incredible. That is incredible. And you can see there, if you look across there, you can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 head covers on each side, so 16 in total on each engine. That's just incredible. Amazing. So in terms of performance, cruising speed around 25, 26 knots, and as I said, a top speed of a mind-blowing 40 knots. It's amazing. But it achieves that through a jet propulsion system. So the best way of describing this, and I'll pop a little diagram up on the screen to show you, is a little bit like, or in fact you could say a lot like, the way that a jet ski works, in that you have a water intake and that water then is forced out through a jet nozzle that produces an enormous amount of thrust, and that also plays a role in steering the boat as well. And there's a couple of things about that that are interesting to note. One is it allows the boat to have a much shallower draft than usual. So you might have noticed in the specs at the start of the video that this has a draft of only 1.2 meters. I'll just skip around here, of only 1.2 meters. And if you were to compare that to, say, a 100-foot or 120-foot motor yacht using a regular propeller propulsion, that'd be, well, probably 2 meters, 2.1, 2.2 meter draft. So it does allow the boat to come into much shallower areas, but also at those very high speeds in the high 30s and 40 knots, that jet propulsion system, water propulsion, is far more efficient. And it also has the effect of producing less noise, less vibration, so a better guest experience, you might say. So I just find that fascinating. It's the first time I've been on board a big boat like this that uses this type of propulsion system, and I've definitely never come on board and seen 3 huge MTU engines like this. That's wild, isn't it? That's incredible for the guys that watch just to see the engines. That is something. There you go. In addition to the set of engines, there's also a pair of 40 kilowatt Kohler generators. You can see one of those there, and you can see its twin just over there. And there's also a pair of water makers, which I can't quite see at the moment. They're definitely on board. Someone's going to point it out to me in the comments that I walked right past it. But anyway, nonetheless, an incredible engine room, and I think the boat's aptly named, because you only do live once, and I may not come back and see an engine room just like this, so I am going to savour it for a few more minutes, because that's incredible. There you go. Okay, I reckon we'll come back out of here, back through the crew area, and we'll wrap this walkthrough up. So that's our full features yacht tour of this Arno Leopard 34, being brokered by Ray White Marine in Sydney. They are the people to talk to if you want to buy this boat. They'll look after you. All of those details are in the description. But I hope you liked that. If you did, make sure you like it and comment. And if you haven't already, subscribe to We Love Boating, because we do these every week and they're a lot of fun. But I think we'll leave it there, and we'll see you next week on another one. Bye for now.